Welcome to the podcast, everybody. We just celebrated Taylor's birthday and we're a little bit hungover.
I feel like I'm dead today, and I probably also look like I'm dead today. I am so tired and so just bleh. Definitely have the post-birthday blues for sure.
And I'll clarify, I don't necessarily feel like it's a hangover. We're very dehydrated because we were at the pool and I don't feel like I actually drank enough to be hungover, but I just felt like dehydration today, like tired, a little bit like not right, and like have the worst headache.
Yeah. I feel exhausted. I definitely felt super nauseated when I woke up this morning. My first patient of the day was taking off a cast.
Oh,
And if you know anything about casts, they fucking stink when you take them off. And I cut open to that thing and I was like, holy shit, I'm gonna puke all over this kid. Like, I am not in a good place. I'm feeling better now, but I definitely like need to go to bed, I feel.
did you work out this morning?
Mm-mm.
I didn't either.
Yeah, I could not. I don't know. Like,
I
I
need to
also,
sleep.
yeah, I also don't really eat like a ton of carbs anymore, like pasta carbs when we went to the old spaghetti factory. And all night I was just like so full and so bloated and just felt like, ugh. So I think that that also has a lot to do with it.
I also feel like I didn't feel great too because I cried my eyes out for a chunk of time when I got home last night because my sister told me yesterday, everyone, that she's moving back to North Carolina.
It is not a for sure thing.
Listen, even if her fiance doesn't get this certain job, they want to move back. They don't want to live here anymore. So it's going to happen regardless of this one job. So it's not like it's not dependent on that job. So I cried and Henley cried and she was so sweet. But I feel like because I was crying, my head like had that like crying pain where it's just like,
Mhm.
ugh, and my nose was stuffy when I woke up. So it was just like a rough morning.
Yeah, I also drunk cried the entire way home. God bless Tony for putting up with all my birthday shenanigans because I was all over the map. But yeah, literally bawled my eyes out the whole way home. And I don't really know why. I was definitely crying because of Gypsy. I was definitely crying because my last conversation I ever had with my dad was 2 years ago on my birthday. And I think like everything just kind of hit me at once and I was a hot damn mess. So.
Tony is a saint
He is.
and
So
also a little
bless his
fucker
heart.
because you're not married yet. So
Yeah. So yeah, but we're doing good today, you guys. We're 32. We have new tattoos. I have super cute birthday nails that I am obsessed with. And yeah, we got Leo tattoos, so that's exciting. Um, my birthday was really great. We drank a lot of champagne, which was really fun. Went,
tequila.
yeah, tequila. We went to the pool. I feel like the day, oh, sorry, I have the hiccups. I feel like
Went
the
too
day went
fast.
so fast. Like I don't even know where it went.
I felt that way too. Like by the time we got to the pool, I was like, wait, the day's already like over. Like,
Hmm.
why did we wait so long? That's kind of how I felt.
Yeah. Tony did get me some Skims. I have worn the pair of, I'm on my period right now, so I didn't want to like ruin all the things with barbecue sauce stains.
Oh,
I'm totally kidding. But so I just wore like a pair of the underwear and they are the most comfortable things I've ever put on my body.
I definitely want to try them. I'm very interested in them.
Yeah, they're very comfortable. So I'm excited. He got me like a bodysuit too, and I'm really excited to try that because those have good reviews.
Do you feel like your vagina can fit into it?
Yeah, I actually do. I was nervous about that because that episode on the Kardashians when Khloe was talking about that, and I was like, oh, okay, like in pictures, Kim looks like she has the smallest vagina ever because like the fabric is so tiny. But yeah, it fits. They fit perfect. Like, and they didn't like move around like how sometimes with thongs you can get like a front wedgie. That never happened. So that's a win in my book.
I feel like I need to try them at some point. I do need new underwear. I was thinking that yesterday.
Yeah, I highly recommend so far. So.
Well, I'm glad you had a good birthday. I'm still very sad you're leaving me for the weekend. And yeah, Leo season's about to end.
And it's very sad. Mercury goes into retrograde next week, like the same time Leo season ends. So I feel like Shelby and I are going to be up on a super big high, and then we're going to have a super big low because we hate when Leo season ends, and then Mercury is going to fuck with us.
I hope not. I think Mercury sometimes only fucks with you when like the universe is trying to get you to pay attention. So
Yeah.
I hope I'm paying attention enough that I'm like chilling.
Yeah, I hope so too, but we'll see. I really do have like this sadness of my birthday being over and Leo season coming to an end. Like I really live for this week.
I know I'm pretty sad that it's about to end. I think by the time this comes out, it might actually have ended.
I can end on the 22nd.
Yeah, it will have definitely ended.
Sad.
But we have the autumn equinox coming up. We can look forward to that. It's on a Thursday. It's Thursday, September 22nd. So if we want to do something, we should start planning that now.
Yeah, I agree. I
It'd be
like
really
doing,
fun to do like a little yoga session in my backyard and like cheese and wine and
that
like
would be fun.
a little fall night.
That would be really fun. We should definitely plan that.
All right. Well, let's plan on doing that. If there's any people that listen that want to come, hit us up and we can go from there.
Yes.
And if we read cards, we're not reading them inside my house because I do not want to ghost again.
Yeah, true. We can read them outside because it will be a beautiful night.
Which I don't have a ghost lately.
I, knock on wood, actually have not either. So I'm about ready for Gypsy to like come visit me though. So if she wants to click clack her little paws, her little ghostly paws, she can come.
Also, everybody, Taylor's going to Oregon here soon. And by the time the autumn equinox happens, she may or may not have gone on a journey to talk to her cousin. And we'll see where that goes.
Talk to my dad through my cousin.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm definitely staying with her a few nights and
It's gonna happen. And you better fucking call me.
I'm so stressed. I was talking to Tony about it and I was like, if I do decide to do this and if my dad like does like we have an experience, if he does not have my damn dog with him, I'm gonna be mad at him all over again. Like he better have Gypsy ready to go for this.
I hope he just has a little baby version of Shelby with him so I can be there.
Just pulling Shelby's soul with you, okay, Dad?
Something. Well, I also would like to report, and Taylor would also like to report because we've been meaning to do this for like a minute. We have officially found out that you have to wash your hair twice, and I have been doing it, and it has actually changed my life. And
It has.
I had an epiphany. The reason I run out of conditioner before shampoo is because I wasn't double washing with shampoo. And now, because I have like a new little like, almost like you see them in Airbnbs where like the shampoo and conditioner and like the little pushy things. I have that for my shower because I have a really annoying and small shower in my new house. And so I got those and they're literally at even levels.
Yeah, there is something to it. You can't tell my hair now because my hair is pretty disgusting right now, but it like I don't have because I get a lot of like flakiness on my scalp. Wow, you guys learned so much about me on this podcast. I have no like holdbacks. But anyways, I have like really dry skin on my scalp and double washing my hair, I don't really have that anymore. I'm so shocked.
I have just noticed that like when I put my shampoo in at first, it's like I still feel like my hair like didn't get shampooed. And I don't know why I've just barely noticed that. And so then I put it in the second time and it just like goes everywhere. It spreads so great. Like you can tell it's actually washing that time. And I'm just like, wow, I really enjoy this.
Yeah, I fully 100% agree with that. And I'm also shocked that I have never done this before because it does make a big difference.
I did read the back of my shampoo and it doesn't say to do it. Ethan Kraft, you fucking liar. But my hairdresser did say yes. And so I tried it and I have not gone back. So if you have not tried washing your hair twice, fully recommend. Sponsored, not sponsored.
Freaking Ethan Kraft. It's so funny off of Lizzie McGuire.
That's
I
what he
rinse
said.
and repeat or whatever he says. That's so funny.
So yeah, try it and let us know if you guys try it and like it, because I will never go back to only washing once now.
Same. I totally agree with that.
The other thing I want to mention to you guys is we've had some people tell us that it's hard to find our YouTube channel on YouTube, which we fully agree. We tried to look and it's like pretty intense. It's probably because we're new and not as popular, which if you go subscribe and view and share it, we will get more popular and it'll be easier to find. However, we have a link in our Instagram link tree, and it takes you to our YouTube channel. If you go to our Instagram, click on the link tree, it'll say YouTube channel. You click on that, and then you can subscribe to our YouTube. And then every time a new episode comes out, you'll get a little notification when you log in, and it'll take you straight to our page. So that's the fastest way to get to that right now is by subscribing, and then you'll get the notifications. And if you ever want to DM us, we can link it to you pretty easily. So
yeah, because when you try to find us on YouTube, like a gangster podcast called Drink Champs pops up, and it's like so hard to find us. So annoying, but we'll help you out. Just let us know.
for sure. Anything else?
Yes, we did have a very interesting experience at dinner last night. We realized we got some wine and we had everybody kind of tried at the table, and we realized how different people's palates are with wine. And it was the most interesting thing to me in the whole entire world.
I do think that that's interesting, and I've always kind of known that, but I always just assumed it was because people don't drink wine, and I don't know if the person that liked it does drink wine.
I don't know.
I
But it
always
was
thought it was just like you don't drink enough wine, and so it's like confusing and uncomfortable to you, and all you taste is like the bad parts. But once you
Mhm.
actually drink wine, you actually can pick up on like the notes.
Yeah, that could be a possibility, but it's interesting that like people's palates are just so different. Like you with cilantro, like cilantro tastes completely different to you than it does to me. And with wine, it was a Chardonnay, so I taste like buttery toast when I drink Chardonnay, or like a super buttery piece of popcorn, like something that has a lot of butter on it. And other people were tasting like burnt or super a lot of vinegar. Like it's just interesting how weird people's palates are, like how different it can be, and how you can have the same food but such a different experience.
Yeah, for sure. And like I hate whiskey and rum and scotch and like all of these dark liquors. And there's some people that just like love them. And I truly hate them so much. The smell, all of it just freak me out. I hate it. Or like mint, like
Mhm.
mojitos. People love mojitos and Moscow mules. Like I don't love them because of the like weird flavors in them.
Really? You don't like a Moscow Mule? Oh, I love Moscow Mules. Yeah, I don't know. I just thought it was an interesting observation, and I just think it's very interesting. So,
I agree. And also, I love how many people are talking to us about wine lately and like wanting wine recommendations. I did
mhm.
have one of our listeners, Ashley, my friend Ashley.
Maxwell.
Oh yeah,
She
Ashley
needed her first and
Maxwell.
her last name.
She just had a birthday. Shout out to her.
Your party was real fun.
Literally. She and her friend Sarah bullied me because they are upset that I talk shit about the wine that they like, Stella Rosa. And I felt a little stressed, but I'm also like, hey, like this is just a hint to like evolve your taste because you're not drinking good wine. So like if you want to actually enjoy your wine and not like get a headache or just feel gross, like listen to us. I'll help you out.
Yeah, I love that people are asking us for wine recommendations. And if we do an autumn equinox thing, that will be really cool because we can pair different wines with different cheeses.
Speaking of wine, right now, sponsored, not sponsored, I am drinking a wine called, I don't know, Brucher, can't really tell,
Dandelion.
something like that. And it's a Pinot Noir. It's a 2013, which I was nervous because if you get a 2013 or like an older year, it's usually better, but you'll have like things in your wine. Like, I don't think you can see it on this YouTube right now. I'll show you at some point. I'll take a picture and post it for you guys. But that's when you're more than likely to have like the little like things in it or corks left in it. Like your cork will kind of dissolve a little bit. Anyways, this is, oh, you can see it on the bottle. Do you see all this stuff right here?
Yeah, that's
That's
scary.
from it like sitting on the shelf and like just all of the things, the tannins. I think that's what they are. Anyways, this is a Pinot Noir. I love Pinot Noirs. They're very jammy. This one's delicious. It tastes kind of like a Dry Farms because it's like more jammy than other Pinot Noirs, but Pinot Noir is a light. So if you have been drinking reds and you don't like a Merlot or a Cab, which are like really dark and heavy and like bold, a Pinot Noir is going to be like a nice mix in between those. That's like not too soft and not too bold. It's like right in the middle. So this one's delicious. I got it in Mesquite. It's 13.5% alcohol, so it will fuck you up.
So be careful with it, okay?
I'll drink it all today. But yeah, that is all I have. I have no pop culture news. I have not been on my social media enough. Been very busy.
Yeah, me either. I really have no idea what's going on in the world. Actually, I do have a little idea, but I don't know enough info about it. So I'm just going to put a little nugget out there and then I'll update you more once I have time to actually research it. But that celebrity, that actress that like just died in that car accident,
And
Hesh, whatever her name is, there is a giant conspiracy theory forming right now because she is an ex of Ellen DeGeneres. And I guess that there is like a ton of stuff that shows that her accident was not really what it seems. And she was in the process of making a documentary that exposed a lot of people in Hollywood. So people are really going to town with these conspiracy theories, and there's a ton of videos and there's a ton of stuff going on with it. So once I have time to actually sit and research it, I will update you guys. But just a little nugget of what's to come because that's pretty sketch.
I mean, Paul Walker did die in a car accident too, and that one has a pretty fact-filled conspiracy theory. So
Yep, because he was getting ready to expose the Clintons because he just went to Haiti and then all of a sudden died in this weird car accident. So I don't know. The videos that I have seen are very, very interesting, and I definitely think there's something to it. So I'll keep you updated. Lois, if you know anything, because you're my conspiracy theory let me know because I'm very interested.
I would also like an update. I feel like you have gotten off the train and like I don't like them a lot, but also you would tell me about them enough that I'm now like I don't want to research them myself, but I like to hear about them, and so I'm sad that you've stopped.
I know it just takes like so much time, and I just got so busy. I don't have time to like. It was easy with COVID because there was nothing else going on. So I think that's why I got so much info with COVID stuff. But sorry, I keep getting the hiccups. But yeah, it just takes a lot of time. So we'll see what I can find.
Interesting. Well, friends, wait, you don't have anything else, right?
No.
Okay. So our topic today is going to be about being a positive fucking Polly. Just kidding. The power of positivity really is what it is. And we weren't really sure exactly what we were going to talk about today. We had an encounter recently with one of our listeners that kind of ties into this pretty heavily. And we've both been like pretty focused on that since that conversation. And I had a team meeting today, and one of the girls that was in charge of it, which, God, I'm so good at what I do. I'm such a good like boss and leader. You guys have no idea. Anyways, she was in charge of hosting the meeting today, and she played a video about the power of positivity, and I sent it to Taylor, and we were like, yeah, we should for sure have this as our topic today. So that's what we're going to be talking about. I don't really know where you want to start with it necessarily. One thing I did want to start with, I guess I'll just fucking do it. I don't know. I asked you a question. I'm just going to answer myself. Is I think sometimes it's hard to process what positive thinking is. And so that's kind of what the power of positivity is positive thinking and like being an optimist rather than a pessimist. So I wanted to make sure I clarified what it is, because I always have to give you guys a definition when we start before we dive in. So positive thinking simply means approaching life with a positive outlook. So positive thinking doesn't necessarily mean avoiding or ignoring the bad aspects of your life. It involves making the most of the potentially bad situations, trying to see the best in other people, and viewing yourself and your abilities in a positive light. So that's kind of like positive thinking in a nutshell, is just like literally that, being positive, having a positive outlook on everything.
Yeah, so that video that Shelby was talking about, we'll for sure link it in show notes. So you guys can watch it. It's like 12 minutes long, but it's a really good video. That's where I got a lot of my stuff from, and I'm kind of just going to dive in a little bit deeper with it. This is something that I have been practicing for a really long time to find the positive in life. And the video kind of started out and it said, like, one of the first things it said is there is something every single day to be positive about. There are simple beauties all around us. And that really got me thinking, like, how did I get into this mindset? I feel like I'm naturally a pretty positive person already, but it really is a mindset shift that you have to get yourself in. And it really started with finding just the beauty in normal everyday life. Like, I wake up in the morning, I make my bed, I clean up my room so I don't have clothes sitting around, I don't have like little messes sitting around, because my room is like my peaceful place in my house, and I just want that to be a clean, welcoming environment. So I make my bed every morning. I open up all the windows in my house to let in natural light. Tony stands on the porch every morning, like while he's making his coffee, he'll stand outside and just like look outside or whatever he does while he's out there. But that is something that I've noticed that he does every day. And I feel like starting from the second you wake up, if you look for those happy, beautiful things, that you will find them throughout the day. It really is shifting your mindset from the second you get out of bed and making that choice as you wake up.
I love that. I don't really know if I could define specifically how it happened for me. I don't think I would say I've always been a positive person. I don't think I've been as negative as I thought I was. I usually say that I used to be like a big pessimist and always just think negatively, which I definitely did. Like, I definitely had a negative outlook when like things would happen to me. But I think like just becoming an adult and like taking control of my life, I started to realize like, okay, like life's really not that bad. And like the things that are happening to me are, I think we just mentioned it in one of our podcasts, like a direct result of the things that I'm doing. So if I'm upset with something, like that came from me somewhere, like I triggered something or I didn't handle something or whatever. So like I kind of already started processing it like that when I was pretty young. And then I would definitely say like our Rachel Hollis journey and our self-development journey and gratitude, I think have been the biggest things that changed that for me. I also really think having kids changed that for me, because like you don't really get the chance to be negative. Like you could be negative, but then like you're not actually being a very good mom, to be honest, if you're a negative person. And so I think I kind of had to just learn how to like, okay, I need to understand my kids and their brains and like put myself back into a kid mentality. And so that kind of helped because I had to develop more patience and understanding. And I think the more you develop skills like that, it kind of ties into your positive thinking. So instead of immediately getting upset, let me stop and think. Like I just learned patience and understanding and tried to process more of what other people are going through. And that tied into my empathy that I started having. And like it kind of just all falls on top of each other. Like it just stacks and builds and builds. And I don't think I could say it's just one thing, but I do really believe that gratitude has been like a really big part of it.
Yeah, I agree with that too. And that actually is something that I put on my list, is having gratitude for small things that happen throughout the day. So I do my gratitude list at night before I go to bed, and I just solely focus on that day. I don't focus on what happened yesterday, or I don't focus on what happened last week. Like solely in that day, I promise you can find 5 things to be grateful for in a single, however long we're awake, 20, like 16 hours, whatever it is. But I promise you that you can find 5 things, and sometimes they're really small and sometimes they're really big. Like yesterday, obviously my birthday, hello, was a big thing, but like today it's going to be something just smaller things, like my doctor bought me lunch today for my birthday and that was really exciting, or I had a really good coffee this morning and I'm very thankful for that. So it's like, I don't know, gratitude, once you focus on the things that you have to be thankful for, things don't seem as negative, I think.
I think there's really something to the challenge of finding things to be grateful for too. Like there are definitely times where I sit down to do my journal and I'm like, I fucking can't. Like I am in like the weirdest headspace. Like I don't really know what I could be grateful for. Now you can usually find like 1 or 2, but the challenge of finding 5 on those days really stretches that and like helps you grow and develop, I think. And just like, even though it seems cheesy to say it, like there's times where I'm like, I'm grateful for so many different things. And when I struggle to find something, then I start thinking like, oh, I really love my car, or I'm happy that I have my car, or I'm happy for Henley's attitude today, or just like so many weird things. And then I'll even sometimes be like, my bed, like it can get so, I don't know, like there's just so much variety in it if you really sit and think about things that you're happy about and like focus on where you're at and stop and think about your day and little interactions you had. And sometimes it's just like, I had a good meeting today, like dumb little things. I did have a note that I've been wanting to share with you guys for a while. I think I probably got it. I'm sure I got it from like a fucking Peloton ride or a podcast or something. Like I didn't come up with this myself. Never do I ever. But the note says gratitude, and just it basically I wanted to talk about gratitude and how you're getting to a healthier place mentally. And one of the ways you start realizing you're getting there is once you naturally start thinking, I am grateful for blank rather than I should be grateful for, or I need to be more grateful for whatever the blank is, that's when you know. So like I noticed that once I like noticed that, like once the wherever I heard that said it, I was like, wow, I actually do have that. Like I'm constantly like, I'm so grateful for this, or like I'll just have random thoughts when I'm driving where I'm like, wow, I'm grateful for this and I'm happy about this, instead of like, wow, I should be grateful for, or I should, like anytime you have a should in your statement or a want, like that is when you mentally haven't had that shift yet. Like I stopped saying I want things and started saying I'm going to have this. Like I will have this. I have this. Like it's more of like it's already happened mentality. And that's when I feel like that your gratitude and your mental space is like shifted into that, like, okay, now I see the world a little bit differently rather than like I'm slighted and I don't have something. I see it as like, fuck yeah, that's mine. I have it.
Yeah, I love that. And I totally agree with that as well. So the other thing with the video that they talked about, which I don't mean to harp on things, it kind of like this podcast kind of just follows like where I'm at with my life. And I am in just a very big, I don't even know what to call it, like shift would maybe be the right word, but I'm in this weird like anxiety spot, and like mental health is so important to me right now because that's what I'm facing every single day is like anxiety. So the fact that this video brought up anxiety was very exciting to me. So I'm just really going to dive into this because I've been going to therapy, and it's anxiety is 99% of what we've been talking about in there. So the video said that positivity is the antidote to anxiety. Things happen every single day that are out of your control. So with these things, don't allow your mind to sit in that space, or that, like, I call it, like in my head, it feels like I'm in a tornado, and I call it like a spiral. Like it'll start out and it just like keeps going, and I just keep like falling into this black hole tornado anxiety. So that's what I mean when I say like get out of the spiral. So you need to find a point with your anxiety or your negative thoughts to cut those off. So a lot of my anxiety is the unknown. and loss I'm figuring out is I have a lot of unknown about what happens like after you die and all of that. So I hate the unknown and I hate the idea of losing something, like losing people. And so that's what a lot of my anxiety stems from. And I create stories in my head of things that could potentially happen. Like Tony's going to die in a car accident and then I'm going to be all alone. And then that's when the spiral will start. And like, what the hell am I going to do? And blah, blah, blah. So that's kind of where everything stems from. So what I've learned in therapy, it's called finishing the circle. And I'm going to try really hard to explain this because it's really hard for me to fully explain. But there's like a top half of the circle, and that's like your anxiety and your fears. So what I'm going to use as an example, because it's easier to explain, I have my therapist diagnosed me with PTSD, like when it comes to medical things after my blood clot. So when I start to feel like I'm getting sick, or if I start to feel like my leg getting tight, or if things like feel weird in my body, my brain automatically is like, you're going to have another blood clot, you're going to be in the hospital, this is going to be a huge disruption. So that's like the top half of my circle. And I have to find that point of like, I stop it and I say, whoa, Taylor, like, what are your thoughts doing right now? Like, what's going on? Let's sit here and let's digest this. Let's think about this. Like, let's not get it to that spiral spot. So, sorry, I'm also reading my notes. So, finding that spot to stop yourself and then acknowledging whatever feeling you have there. Most of the time with this specific situation, it's fear. So, acknowledging that I'm scared of something. What is it that I'm afraid of? So kind of break that down. For the second half of the circle, you have to finish your circle. So your top half, and then you finish it with the bottom half. So a lot of people, myself included, when it comes to anxiety, they disassociate from their body. And Shelby actually made me kind of realize that, like, because I would think like, oh, I'm not disassociating, but then I think your therapist said something that like you don't notice like your watch on your wrist, or you don't notice like your earrings or your necklace or something. And so I didn't realize that I did that. Like when I would get into an anxiety mind frame, I didn't realize that like I wasn't noticing anything on my body. I wasn't noticing my hair brushing my face, like my tongue touching my teeth when I talked. Like I didn't really know that I was disassociating from my body. So that was really helpful to know. So when I'm finishing my circle, I bring myself back from that dissociation. So that can be, now I've started doing breath work, but I've been doing this for a minute. It's hard to just like go right into breath work. What it used to be when I first started this is I would go get a drink of really cold water. And for some reason that cold water would like shock me back into my body, or I would get an ice cube and like stick it in my mouth so that I just had a really strong sensation of like, come back here, let's figure out exactly what's going on. So now like my therapist taught me box breathing, and you breathe in, like you count to 4 and you breathe in that whole time, and then you hold your breath at the top for 2, and then you breathe out for 4 and hold at the bottom for 2, and you continue that little box. It's like you're tracing a box in your mind, and you continue that until you start to feel like your watch or your hair or your shirt. You just bring yourself back into your body. And once you're back into your body, once you've calmed down a little bit, then you can completely finish that circle and be like, okay, I understand that this is a fear. I understand why it's a fear, but what are the things you're doing to help prevent this from happening again? So I'm on blood thinners. My chances of getting another blood clot are extremely slim because I'm on really heavy dose of blood thinners. So I remind myself of that, of this probably isn't going to happen again because it's almost impossible for it to happen again. But when you're in that anxiety mindset, it's really hard to remind yourself of that. So that is how I complete my circle. Sometimes when I'm having a really bad anxiety day, I have to do this multiple times, and that's okay. And I have to let myself know that that's okay, because on my bad anxiety days, and I'd have to like keep doing that, and it would completely disrupt my life because I'd have to stop and like bring myself back. It's okay if you have to do it 20 times a day, but that has been very, very helpful with anxiety. And I feel like just being positive, like it's okay to have anxiety. It's okay to have to finish your circle a ton of times a day. I think that really helps. So long-winded, but that's where we're at today.
I think with that too, like, I don't think people fully process or acknowledge enough how much anxiety and stress play into their mental health or their physical health or their emotional health. Like, stress and anxiety can literally tear you down and actually ruin your life, because the second you get in that tornado or whatever Taylor's talking about, if you don't have the skills to get yourself out, you literally live there. Like,
Hmm.
and stress does so much to your body, anxiety does so much to your body. And the more that you ignore finding skills and tips to not cope with them, the more that you just live in that situation and it never goes away. And then your life basically deteriorates in front of you. Like, I have so many people that I know that are like extended family type people that like they truly just like don't care about any of these things. They have stress and judgment and anxiety and all the things that are negative, and they're so unhealthy. And so, like, their quality of life is just not great. And like, you only have one life. So, like, why would you not try and make it a great quality? Like, why half-ass that? It's not going to get any better if you keep ignoring it. You literally live there until you learn how to like get out of it, like Taylor's talking
Hmm.
about.
It's really true. And anxiety really does disrupt your whole life. And honestly, like if you need medication, get medication. Like don't live. There's so many ways that we can get out of living in a state of anxiety all the time that there's no reason to not try I've tried everything but medication. And at this point in my life, I may get on medication, but I have literally tried so many things because I don't want to live in that state. I don't want to live in that constant negative state of being afraid of everything. So I mean, it's scary to try different things, but I think it would be more scary to live in that state of anxiety all the time. So,
I for sure agree with that. One of the things I wanted to talk about too with like power of positive thinking and like thinking positively, is I truly think a lot of it is a matter of your perspective and the way that you choose to look at things. So it's like, is the glass half empty or the glass half full? Like, those types of things are the challenge in your brain to decide every single day. Like, am I going to take this as a positive or a negative, or am I going to like look at the situation, the thing that's bothering me, the thing that's making me sad, the thing I'm having an insecurity about, the thing I'm judging myself about, and am I going to like keep beating that up, or am I going to look at it and see like what perspective I want to have and how I can change that narrative? Because I do believe you're in control of being able to change your narrative whatever you want. And I was actually, one of the other notes I have, this one for sure came from a Peloton ride, and it says, you might think I'm counting slow, because like at the end, they're always like, after like something that you're doing in one of the things, it's like countdown of like 5, 4, 3, and it feels like 2, 1, like super, super slow. And it says, you might think I'm counting slow, but that's a matter of perspective. Are you complaining that I'm counting slow, or do you see it as an opportunity for more development so that you can grow and your body can change? And I was like, wow, I for sure love that, because there's definitely times where I'm like, fucking hurry up. Like, that is not 5 seconds. That was 10. But then I was like, there's been times where like that happens. And I'm also like, hell yeah, my body's not giving up on me. I'm getting stronger. Like, it's all a matter of like how you choose to hear things and learn from them and grow from them, and like what you want to talk to yourself about. Like, all of these are conversations in your head at that point. Like, that those are thoughts in your head of like, fuck you, why are you doing that? Or, dang, I'm really proud of myself for being able to keep going and not stopping and sitting down sooner. So I think perspective is a huge, huge part of positive thinking, and plays a huge part in like how you can change what you're telling yourself.
yeah, I fully agree with that. And I like that you said that because in that video, it said, expect the best things to happen. If you focus on the negative, you will find negative results. If you focus on the positive, you will see the positive. So it really is, in my opinion, just a mindset shift to find those positive things. And even through hardships, like wanting to get off of the bike, because I've definitely been on rides that I'm like, just get done with the counting so I can get off of this bike. Like, but it is, if you shift your mind to that, to see that your body's getting stronger in those last few seconds, I think that it can make such a big change in your life.
And I think there's something to be said with it too, because I think it kind of ties into the toxic positivity. Like, on our episode that we talked about, sometimes it can feel like you're being toxic positivity to yourself. And that really, like, I don't want to take away from the fact that there's sometimes things that are really sad and sometimes things are really hard and sometimes life really freaking sucks. However, I do believe that you don't have to live in the suck and the sadness. You get to choose when you get out of it. And I want you to acknowledge that, because that's something I'm learning in therapy too, is like, you can't just gloss over stuff, pretend it didn't happen. You should allow your body and your mind and your emotions to go through that so that you process it. So like totally sit with it and be sad and be angry, be whatever emotion that's negative that you want, and then put a time limit on it if you need to, or just be like, I'm taking this day, or, you know, this is really hard. It's okay that I'm sad. And even acknowledging that is huge. However, you then have to kick your own ass and get yourself up again and be like, all right, enough is enough. Now I have to change the dialogue in my head. I get to be positive now. I get to see what lesson I can learn from this, how I can grow from this, what I can do to be better, or how I can just find the positive in whatever the sad situation is. Like, you get to change that narrative for yourself, and you should definitely sit in the sadness, but you also shouldn't just sit and tell yourself like, I suck. I'll never be good enough. I'll never have this. I don't get to have this. Like, you telling yourself is you just telling the universe, like, that's where you're going to live.
I am actually practicing this whole thing right now with Gypsy passing away. Like, it's been really, really hard, and I think a lot harder than I realized it was going to be. But there are times that I just want to sit and cry. There are times that I walk in from work and she's not there to greet me, and I just want to sit and cry, and I don't want to sit there and tell myself like, don't be sad in this moment. Remember how happy you were when you had her. Like, no, sometimes there are situations and there are things that you need to let those sad or quote unquote negative emotions out. And I think that that is so important. But I'm not going to sit and wallow every single day in not having Gypsy. I'm going to let myself cry and be sad when I need to. And then I'll start to get myself out of that and be like, well, let's watch this funny video about how funny Gypsy is being this day. And let's say thank you to the universe for giving me such a great dog that I got to love for almost 15 years. Like, let's start to get out of this, but you have to let those sadness out, or that anger out, that you have to have some sort of an outlet. You can't just cover up those feelings.
For sure. And I think that that's what I notice the most with positive thinking with people is it is really, really easy to sit and judge people or feel insecure or compare yourself, or I don't know, like, there's so many other like negative ways that you could describe that. And trust me, like, I've been there. Like, I know exactly what that's like. However, I do know that anytime I was living in that state, I wasn't very happy. Like, if you're looking at someone on Instagram and you're just like, God, I wish I had their life, and why do they have everything? They're so perfect. Why, blah, 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 blah. And then you start saying negative things about them, which isn't cool. None of us want to be like that person. And then you also start comparing everything in your life, and you're no longer grateful for anything you have in your life, because all you've done at that point is start to be like, wow, I wish I had somebody else's life. And you're not appreciating anything good in your life. You're like, oh, my house isn't good enough. My clothes aren't good enough. My car is not good enough. I don't have money to do this. I don't have that. I'm not successful. Like, whatever dialogue you put in your head, and it all stems from an insecurity, a judgment, and a comparison. And the more that you focus on those things and you don't switch that in your head and be like, wow, that's really cool. I like that she did that. Like, there's definitely this girl, I went to high school with her, and God, she is definitely, like, we are not the same type of person at all. She lives a very different life than me. She's like the ultra mom. She does all the Pinterest things. Like, she's like, literally, her kids probably just feel smothered with her love and her attention, and like all of these weird activities that she does. And there's times where I'm like, man, that would be really cool to do, but I'm not sitting there thinking like, I should be better and do this. I think that would be really cool to do. However, I don't have the time, because I don't sit at home and feel bored all day and have time to like make a Pinterest activity. I think it'd be cool to do. How can I make that something that works for me and my family with the time that I have? So like, that's kind of how I change that dialogue in my head. Cause like, A, don't fucking want to be her. what I realized is I wish I could do things sometimes to be a better mom, or to do things to like help my kids feel a little bit more, what's the word? Like cared about,
Yeah.
excited about something. I don't really know. But so instead of like doing that, I realized like, okay, I'm having a little bit of mom guilt because I feel like maybe I'm not doing enough as a mom. What can I do that works for me and my family? Because me and my family would not like the activity she did. We'd be like, what the fuck? Who are you? Like, okay, go bake an apple pie. Like, that's not us. What can I do? I'm feeling guilty. How can I be a little bit better as a mom right now instead of comparing myself and pretending I wish I had somebody else's life when I don't actually want that. I just needed to recognize what my emotion was and my insecurity, and then figure out what I could do to better myself instead of like trying to compare my life to something that I don't actually want.
I love that. I really do love that.
It's hard though. It's not easy. I mean, I don't think any of this is easy. I don't want you to think it's easy either.
Mhm.
However, it all just like it ties back into everything we're talking about, like habits and gratitude and pushing yourself and like challenging yourself. Like this is something that can apply in so many areas of your life, work, your relationship, your friendships. Like this affects every aspect of your life. And if you want to ignore it, I just think that's stupid. There's nothing else to say. It's just stupid.
I feel like I've said this a million times before. I love life and I love living life and I just love being alive. And we all have to be alive. We all have to wake up in the morning and go to work or do a Pinterest activity or whatever our days bring us. We might as well make the best out of it every single day because you're torturing yourself if you're not. And that's stupid.
Well, it's just making
However
you
you ended
sad.
that.
Like you're just living a sadder life. Like you're
Mhm.
not living your full and happiest life because you're constantly living in this state. And the more you choose to ignore positive thinking and how to reframe that in your mind, because it is a mindset shift. It's something that you have to completely change and you have to focus on every single day. And like I mentioned it on one of our other episodes, like I used to write, I'm the most positive person I know on the top of my like journal every single night. Like I'm the most positive person I know. I'm the most positive person I know, because I truly wanted to be the most positive person I know because I knew I had a negative mindset and I needed to fix that. Robin Arzon from Peloton posted the other day like a post on her Instagram, and she just was saying like something, I think she was maybe talking about like in COVID days, and she basically like the point of the post was, what do I have right now that I used to wish for? And so she used to challenge herself with that of, what do I have right now in this moment that I used to wish I had? And I thought that was so powerful because there's so many times when you could stop and do that and be like, holy shit, I would have never thought I have the house I have, or the job I have, or the friendships I have, like or the family, like my kids, like so many things like that I wish I would have had. And now I literally have them because I take the steps to constantly push myself into that life. And if you're choosing to ignore it, like you probably won't be able to answer that question and feel very happy. But I think if you're struggling right now to find positive thinking, you should ask yourself that probably like once a day, or anytime you're feeling really like ungrateful or negative, be like, okay, stop, think, look around me. What do I have right now in this space or in my life that I wish I had a long time ago and now I have it? And I think you'll probably be shocked.
Yep. 100% you'll be shocked because I've asked myself that question before and I am shocked because I never thought that I would live the life and have the fulfillment that I have right now. I never thought that. And I love that because that shows me in the future it's only going to get better.
Well, and I think that's like exactly the point too. Like if I've made it this far now and I keep going and I keep improving and I keep doing the best I can do, like where the fuck can I go? Like I could go to the moon if I want. Like that's why I literally
Mhm.
plan to own a vineyard. Will I own a vineyard someday? Who knows? But I'm going to fucking shoot for owning a vineyard and we'll see what happens along the way, because you just never know. Like
Mhm.
me having that logic and that mentality is the only way I'm going to be able to receive things that align with the things I want. if you're not aligning yourself and your target in those areas, like you're just going to be like receiving stuff you don't actually want.
Mm-hmm. I never, ever, ever, ever had the goal or the thought that I would ever teach yoga. Like that had never been on my radar. And I feel like I was in such a place in my life for me to accept that gift. And I don't know what my life would be without that. Like it's such a joy in my life. It's actually like one of my absolute biggest joys in life. And if I hadn't been in the right mindset to say yes when the owner of the yoga studio was telling me I have to go through this teacher training, if I hadn't like taken the steps throughout my teacher training to be a better teacher and to like be better myself, I would not be in the situation that I am in today of being so happy with this being in my life. So there really is something to being positive because it opens up doors that you didn't even know that you wanted open if you just focus on bringing happy, positive things in your life.
For sure, I agree. Do you have any other things that you want to touch on before we answer the questions that were submitted?
No, I don't think so.
All right, so we are, hopefully this helps you guys, first of all, because I know it's big and broad. Hopefully when you listen to this video that we link, you start to kind of feel what we're saying, and maybe they explain it way better than we do, because we probably suck at it. We're not going to do an asking for a friend on this episode. We're going to answer some questions that were submitted by listeners. Just about positivity, I guess. I think that's all you put on it, right? Positivity
Yeah.
questions.
Mhm.
So, I'm going to start with one that's a little bit easier to answer. I'm not going to do them in the order they were submitted. One person asked, how do you start being more positive? And I wrote down I have a little list for you guys of things, and then Taylor, I'm sure, has some stuff. So, how do you start being more positive? I wrote down, notice your thoughts, write in a gratitude journal, notice the way you view or talk to yourself or talk about yourself out loud to others. And notice if you ever ask yourself, what is this teaching me or trying to tell me? So to me, those were like big things that I look for in myself when it's like, when I'm trying to be more positive. There's definitely times where I talk negative to myself or I say something out loud and I'm like, bitch, don't say that about yourself. You love yourself. And so I think that those are things that are really important for like, how do you even start?
Yeah, I love those. And just to piggyback on that, set an intention for your day. So I set an
I
intention for
love
my
that
day.
one.
Yeah, I set an intention for my day every single day. I do it either before, during, or after my morning meditation. Sometimes I know exactly what I want for the day. Sometimes it comes to me in my meditation. So I'll set it like during my meditation or right after. You can create your intention when you're just doing your everyday morning things like making your coffee, taking your greens in the morning, taking your vitamins. You can just think like, what do I want this day to be? So I like to do my intentions in the form of a mantra so that way I can come back to them throughout the day. So I do I am statements. So an example like I am the most positive person like Shelby used to write, or I focus on the positive things every day. The biggest thing with intentions is believing the intention. If you don't believe in the intention, if you don't believe that one day you can be the most positive person that you know, you're going to have a hard time with that intention. So start small, be very clear on what your intention is, believe in that intention, and reinforce your intention throughout the day. So maybe while you're going pee, just quickly tell yourself that intention again. Before you go to bed, just hurry and tell yourself again. Brushing your teeth, tell yourself that again. Getting in your car, like there's so many times throughout the day that you can bring back that intention in your life. And it really does help. When I'm teaching yoga, I remind my students probably no less than 10 times throughout an hour-long practice. Come back to your intention. What was your intention for this practice? What was your intention for walking through the door into this yoga studio? Like if you are not reminding yourself of it, you're not going to remember. So,
I don't do that actually enough. I recently, like when we did like our whole episodes about being in a funk, I recently was in like a really negative mindset and I could not get out of it. And there was one day where I was like, I set my intention. I think I like did a Thursday thought about it. And I could not believe how much that changed my day and made it more positive. And I very, very rarely do that. And I wish I was better at it, but I have only used it in times when I'm either really stressed or really, really negative. And one thing that I noticed lately, and I haven't brought it up on the podcast yet because I think I've just been waiting for the right like episode topic, but I get really bad test anxiety. And what I've noticed lately is because you always talk about the I am statement thing, I started changing the conversation in my head the whole time I was studying and the whole time I test, the whole time I get ready. I changed like the statements in my head that I was saying to I know, or I know what I am testing on, or I am passing my test. Like I'm putting myself past what I already went through and I don't focus on the anxiety that I have. So I'll just be like, I am smart. I know exactly what I'm doing. I know exactly what this test is. I am like just all of these different statements that are along that line. And I don't have test anxiety the way that I used to. Like I just sit and tell myself that the night before while I'm studying, like I totally got this. I totally know it. I passed my test. I did great. Like all of these different statements. And ever since I started having those like different statements, I don't get as stressed as I used to get. And I think that the intention is just like, I don't know, it's just crazy.
It's just kind of a way to like trick your brain into focusing on things that you want. So I had to grab these cards because I actually have like some intention type cards, and these are Gabrielle Bernstein. They're super cute. Like the colors and everything on them are really cute. When I first started setting intentions, it was when I was in my yoga teacher training and I had a really hard time like figuring out themes for the class or what intentions to like offer up to my students. So I bought a ton of like intention cards and I would just pick a card and that would be like what my intention would be. So like this one said, it's good to feel good. So if you have a hard time with intentions or if you like have never really done it before, there are so many cards that you can get online. And these are just like, they're so cute and colorful. You could stick them in your purse. You could stick them on your mirror. Like there's so many ways to do this. And I truly believe in the power of setting an intention. There's people that I know that do one intention for the whole week. I like to do them every day. But yeah, it kind of is just up to you on how you want to do it. And I truly believe in setting intentions.
I got these mindfulness cards for my birthday. These are very similar to like the cards that Taylor's talking about to just help. And what you're saying just kind of reminded me too of like setting the tone. Like it goes back to like you want a tone for your text message, a tone for your conversation, a tone for your meeting, like all of the different things that you have throughout your life. These little things will help you. Like we pulled one in Mesquite and it was just like, hey, it randomly was about being on vacation and enjoying your day. And like this, I think my sister got at Target, and it has rest and balance, curiosity and joy, insight and awareness, and kindness. And there's cards that are centered around each of those. And so now that I have these, I was telling myself every morning before I wake up to work out, I want to come into my office, I want to pull a card, and I want to try and like do a mindfulness thing of like setting that intention and the tone for my day, or just a reminder, even if it's not going to apply heavily to my day, a reminder to sit and reflect on something. And I think that's going to be huge. So there's cards like this everywhere on Amazon, Target, like literally fucking everywhere. If you want to start by getting something simple like this, start by noticing your thoughts, like all the things that we're saying. I think that they are huge starts and really easy to do if you make a habit of them. Next question. Why is it so hard for some people to be positive?
Ooh, that's a good question. Honestly, I think a lot of it has to do with how you were raised. I think if you're taught by siblings or parents or grandparents, extended family, whatever it is, I think that if you're taught that from a young age, our brains are so moldable and plastic when we are younger, and we form pathways in our brains that you don't even know that you're forming sometimes. And if you're constantly around negative people, or if you're constantly taught to be negative, I feel like that's really hard to change that.
I for sure agree with that. And I also think, like you just said, what you're surrounding yourself with, or what kind of content you're consuming, the things that you're putting in your life, I think can challenge that. This actually kind of ties into one of the other questions that someone submitted. What I'm about to say is, how do you help someone in your life who isn't positive but wants to better their life? And I think this ties into why is it so hard for some people, because I know for sure, like I've had conversations with Wally of like, hey, you're listening to NPR all day where it's stressing you out, or you're watching the news all day and it's stressing you out. The things you're consuming are making you have a negative mindset, and you're immediately upset about life and the economy, and these things that are stressing you out are now making you have a negative outlook, and now making you be negative to the people around you. And so like the things you're consuming, the things that you're talking about, the people you have in your life, all of those things I think really play into it. And then I think it ties back into the comparing, judgment, and insecurity. There's been times where I'm like, that thought you had that you suddenly thought you should say to me that then made me feel sad, tied back to an insecurity. It wasn't a me thing. I didn't actually do it. And that's something I had to learn in therapy of like, this is something that's being said to me. And she's like, well, is that a you problem or is that a him problem? And I'm like, you're right. It's not actually a me thing. That's his mindset playing tricks on him. And then he's saying something to me out of insecurity. And then I feel bad, but really it comes back to like, that's his mindset. And so I challenged Wally to like, anytime you think a negative thought or you want to say something, stop and think about 3 things you're grateful for. And if you stop and think about something you're grateful for, you're less likely to be upset about whatever the negative thing was. And that really helped him. But I think that that's what it is with both of those questions. Like, it's hard for people to be positive because they're surrounded by it. They grew up with it. They have no one in their life helping them be better. And the more you help remind people to be better and push them to be better around them, the more that catches fire. Like, if I was just negative all the time, Taylor would probably start being negative too. If I was just judging people all the time and talking shit, she would probably start talking shit too. Like, you
I know
literally,
that because we've done that.
yeah,
we've
we've been
we've
around
lived
that.
that.
And so like I think you don't realize that like the things that are happening around you every single day, like you will basically, like, you guys mold into those people. And if you don't have anyone in your life that's pushing you to be better, you literally will never be better.
Mhm. And not only people around you pushing you to be better, you want better for yourself.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
you have to, because at the end of the day, no matter who's helping you or who's doing what for you, if you don't want that change is never going to happen. So,
Yeah, it definitely takes you wanting to be better. And I think that that ties into like the question of like, how do you help someone in your life who isn't positive but wants to be better? If you know that they want to be better, that's when you know that there's something that you can do to help. But there's some people that truly are content and they don't seem to care that they have this life. And if that's who they are, then you need to accept that that's who they are and how they want to be, and let them live their life. You don't have to live that life with them though.
yep, for sure.
Sorry, I kind of tied both of those questions into one. Do you have anything to add to either of them?
I don't think so.
Okay, the last one is, best way to do it without seeming fake or toxic.
Hmm, that's a really good question too.
I would definitely say, if you are worried about it seeming fake and toxic, it's probably not genuine. Um, Anything that's genuine will not come across that way. And if you truly want to be that way and you truly have that in your heart and like your mind, it will come through as a genuine act and a genuine conversation rather than like something that's super fake. And if you're worried about how someone's going to receive it, that's the wrong start. You do it because you want to do it and you don't give a fuck. Like, you have zero fucks about what people are going to think about it. You do it because that's who you are and what you believe. And people will receive it however they want to receive it. And if you're worried about the judgment or what someone will say or how they're going to receive it, it's not genuine.
Yep, I agree with that.
I do sometimes worry though about like the toxic part, especially since we had the toxic positivity episode. Like I think when you were going through the stuff with Gypsy and we were texting, I kept being like, ooh, I hope this doesn't sound like I'm telling her to be like toxic positivity. And I think you can second guess yourself a little bit sometimes of, does this sound like toxic positivity? And I'm telling them to erase the situation. And I think that's just my fear because I'm hyper focused on trying to support, give guidance, and not like tell people to ignore it. I don't think I ever did, but that episode really highlighted that for me. And so I try to be very careful with my words sometimes so it doesn't come across that way.
I think the biggest thing with toxic positivity is if you are practicing toxic positivity, you're not you're not looking at the other side. You're not looking at the yin to the yang of there are bad things that still happen in life. There are things that happen outside of your control. There are sad things. You are going to be angry. You are going to get in a fight with your partner. You're going to get mad and angry at your kids. Like that's just, there's two sides of life. There's good and bad. There is two sides of everything. And I think that if you're scared of toxic positivity, I think that you're focusing too much on the positive and not recognizing that there is an opposite side of that, of there are still sad things that happen in life and you still need to allow yourself that space to process those things and to be angry or be sad or be frustrated or whatever other negative emotion that you need to process, you still do that. And I think that's how that kind of balances out that toxic positivity scale of everything is not happy sunshine rainbows. There are some stormy days out there. So,
and I think one thing that I've like tried to do really, I don't know what word I was just going to use. I think one thing that I have tried really hard to do with toxic positivity is like, if I'm going to try and help guide someone through a hard situation, I'm going to like acknowledge the sad part or the hard part and be like, wow, that is so unfair, or that really sucks. I can't even imagine. And then I'm also going to challenge, like, not in the same moment sometimes, like I'm going to challenge, and I know you're really strong and you're going to be able to get through it. And when you can't, like, I'm here for you. And I just like want people to know, like, I know they'll get through it. I'm here for you when you're not able to get through it. I'm here for you when you do get through it. Like, I think it's just important to acknowledge what they're going through, let them know it's okay to be sad, or it's okay to be upset, it's okay to be angry. And now what are you going to do about the situation, and how can I be there to support you on the other end, and not put a but in the sentence, but you can do it, but it's not that bad. Like, I think if you change the but out of the situation, kind of like my therapist always tells me to do, like, it's easier to not have toxic positivity because you're phrasing it and you're working through the conversation in a way that's like acknowledging a situation and pushing through in a kind way.
yeah. Yep.
So yeah, I think that's everything. Is there any other thoughts you have about being a positive Polly?
No. I mean, if you guys ever want to talk to us about this, I appreciate everybody and all the questions that were submitted. I feel like it was a really great, they were really great questions that were submitted. So thank you guys for participating with all of that. If you have anything that you want us to share with the listeners, any quotes, any thoughts, anything, let us know. Yeah, because we like talking to you guys.
Yeah, this one's a hard one. And I don't want people to think that if they have a negative mindset, like it's that bad. Like, I don't hate you. I think you're amazing still. I do hope that when people recognize that they want more for their life and they know that they're in a bad, like negative, toxic cycle, that they can recognize that they're in that and then challenge themselves to get out of it, and then use people like us or any other influencer out there or other podcasts or other books to just like help change that dialogue. There's so many books about the power of positive thinking. Like The Secret alone is a really good book to help you realize like the things you're saying, the things you're putting out there are what you're putting into fruition. So like if you're going to say, Like my son is always saying like, oh, it doesn't matter, I'm not going to play. And it's like, the more you tell yourself you're not going to play, you're not going to play. So like, if you go out there and you think I'm going to fucking be the number one person, guess what? You might not be number one, but you're going to get a lot of playing time and you're going to enjoy it. So like the mentality of how you talk to yourself and the things you put into the universe, 1000% come true in any type of way. And you just have to realize that that's facts and it's not some weird woo-woo stuff. Like it's literally reality.
Yeah, it is for sure. So thank you guys so much for listening. Make sure that if you like this episode, share it with a friend. Like, subscribe, rate, review, follow us on Instagram. And thank you guys for celebrating our birthday all month with us. We were talking today and we're like, this has been the most serious episode we've had in a minute because we've been full on birthday mode. But thank you guys so much for celebrating with us. We really do appreciate it. We'll do the same thing next year, probably bigger, but
I was just gonna say, be prepared to start hearing about it by February next year.
yeah. So thank you guys. We are so thankful for all of you. We hope that you have a great week. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye.